Hi there, I'm Richard Hill, the host of eComOne, and welcome to episode 181. Now, in this episode, I speak with Kalin Karakehayov, founder of SEO.domains. Now, I'm sure we've all bought a few domains over the years, but Kalin has literally bought and traded thousands of domains over the last 10 years as the founder of SEO.domains. Now, Kalin and I talk best ways to assess the quality of a domain and its value, ways to negotiate a domain deal so it works for both parties, and then we dive into link building for e-com store owners. And he breaks down two strategies that I've never heard before, which is quite rare after 180 odd episodes. Very actionable insights. If you enjoy this episode, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening to this podcast. So you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Now, let's head over to this fantastic episode. How you doing, Kalin?
Always good. Hi.
Good. Well, thanks for coming on the show. We look forward to jumping into a few topics that I think most people that have sold or bought anything online to do with e-commerce and have had some experience with what you specialize in. So I think it will really resonate with our listeners and the owners of e-commerce stores. But before we get into it, I think it would be great if you could just introduce yourself to our listeners and how you got into the world of domains and internet marketing.
I'm Kalin from Bulgaria. I'm in the SEO industry for about 16 years. In the beginning, I was doing small projects, agency stuff, content sites in Bulgarian. But then I figured out that it's very good to scale up. So I started doing PBNs, selling links. Then I ran into some trouble with Google about 10 years ago. I got my PBNs indexed. It was quite a new thing back then before Google wasn't really caring about this. So I got handed one of the first big penalties in the world for PBNs. And then we had to replenish. So I started researching domains. Domains were easier to get back then, especially in country domains, CCTLDs. So gradually it morphed into a domain company. We started as a startup, got some small seed investment, and we just got more and more domains over the way. And now we are the largest provider of SEO value domains in the world. We have about 200,000 domains in total, and more than half are domains with history and links.
Wow, that's a lot of domains, Kalin. 200,000.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I guess that will blow most of our listeners' minds, but that's obviously your business. That's the business you're in. Buying and selling and trading and establishing and domains. So there's a lot of different things to dive into. But I'm getting flashbacks of my sort of first domain names I bought probably maybe 20 years ago. I think it's somewhere there, and then you buy one more, then you buy one more. Next thing you know, you've got 50, 60, 70. Whatever. I think. There's probably like 80 or 90 domains at one point. I don't have that many now at all. But it's difficult to then let them go because so you end up renewing. You think, one day I will use this domain. One day I'll use this domain. Then maybe you forget to renew it because your credit card expires or something happens with the way you've set up the domain registry. And then companies like you guys buy a lot of the expired domain names, I guess. Is that a big part of what you do?
Yes, we don't register domains that are already available, only expired ones. We are drop catching them, bidding sometimes at auctions, but trying to drop catch because it's more cost effective on a larger scale. We sent about maybe between 30 and 50 million queries per day trying to register domains.
Wow.
Via hundreds of APIs, hundreds of servers around the world trying to catch domains. Like if you're trying to catch the domain in Mexico, you need a server in Mexico very close to the registry and all of that. So it's like speed trading, aiming for milliseconds, sometimes even microseconds, and doing it at 100 places at once. So it's quite technically challenging, but of course, sometimes the competition is not that big. They are low-hanging fruit. Sometimes it's very tough.
So for the listeners then, I'll explain. So domains expire, and Kalin's company has got various tech around the world that is, as they expire, I think this is right, as they expire, you're literally buying, buy, or trying to buy. And obviously some people beat you to it. In some countries are more more established, and there's more players that are focusing on some countries, like the obvious, countries. But then in other countries, it's a lot easier, I guess, and you've got different tech in different countries. But literally, would say hundreds of thousands? Was it hundreds of thousands a day that you're trying? Tens of thousands a day.
Every day about 200,000 domains expire, but most of them are trash. I think we try for about 2,000 or something. No, less. More like 1,000 are the ones. There are more valuable ones, but there are some that we don't have the capacity to evaluate. So maybe about 5 to 10,000 are the valuable ones, but our capacity to evaluate is limited because there are so many different markets and languages and domain types. So I think we try for about a few hundred to catch them, and we catch about 100, 150 a day.
Yeah, so about 100 a day. So if you've ever had a domain and forgot to renew it, there's a good chance that Kalin has actually bought it.
Yeah, it's a decent chance.
So I find it really fascinating because I think most people listening that are in this space, which is our listeners, will have bought domains, and, domains obviously can be, $1, I think is probably, from $1 to, an insane amount of money depending on the domain name. But would you be able to share maybe the best deal that you've ever done on a domain name?
The best deals are usually traffic domains. So sometimes you buy a domain and it has a lot of traffic, you park it, people click on the ads, and it brings income for 1, 2, 3 years before the traffic dies out. So we have earned 6 figures from traffic, I think 3 times for domains that we invested like 2 figures in, like $30, and we get 150K back. So I don't think that, and this doesn't require any effort, just scale and luck. So it's these are the best deals. But once we bought a domain for 20K and we sold it for 150K. It was an SEO domain, something about template DR90. So huge power.
Yeah.
But it depends. Sometimes you pay a lot of money to buy a domain, then no one wants it. It's a numbers game. Not everything can sell, of course.
Yeah, that's it. If you're buying 100 a day-ish, or you're trying to buy 100 a day, obviously the fees, the costs of registering, re-registering, all those, complete numbers game, isn't it? Complete numbers day. I remember. Sorry, go on, Kalin.
The renewal bill for our domains is more than $1 million a year. So this is just the renewals. So like it takes capital to get into this business at scale.
Yeah. So you need a good more than a handful of good domains to get your money back, sort of thing. Yeah, I remember in the UK, well, it would be worldwide, I think, but in the UK, probably 10 years ago, Google Local, I think it's called Google Local now, isn't it? Google Maps, Google Local. Sorry, no, it used to be called Google Local. Then they
Google
changed
My
it.
Business or something.
It was called Google Local. Then they changed it to Google Places about 10 years ago. I don't know if you remember Google Places. And now, it's Google My Business and GMBs. But the .co.uk, Google hadn't bought the .co.uk Google Places. So I bought the domain name Google.places, googleplaces.co.uk, and put a website on it. And obviously anybody typed in Google Places, we were like number 1 over Google.
That's nice.
This was about 10, 11 years ago. And then I got a cease and desist letter from Google. So short version is we took the domain down, we took the website down, and then we just left it there. But we didn't sell it, unfortunately. I don't think we never really thought to sell it at the time, but that was quite some time ago. Yeah. So when we think of domains then, what's some of the ways to assess the quality and the value of a domain? If our listeners are thinking about buying domains or buying a domain, how do you sort of value a domain?
We look at 3 different features: the quality of the name, the quality of the links, the history, and if there is any existing traffic. And I don't mean organic traffic, because this will die if you change the website. So if you have just the domain and it has some past organic traffic, it's already dying unless you restore the old website. but sometimes there is direct and referral traffic. It's mostly about pirate streaming websites. So this is part of what we do. It's not so relevant to your audience, but I'm still mentioning because a lot of the domain value is in the traffic
Yeah.
sometimes. And the name and the SEO value, the links are what is more important if you have any type of website, e-commerce or other. And the perfect will be a match, something brandable, short, memorable, easy to dictate over the phone. Like if you hear a radio ad, like you cannot mess it up. These are the usual tests. And if it has good backlinks, high authority, high trust links from big media, governments, organizations, any websites that Google trusts, that's good, of course. It will help your SEO. If it's in the same niche, even more. And of course, it's hard to find the combination often of the niche, the name, the links.
Yeah.
So this is why marketplace like ours exists, because you can you can wait in all the auctions and all the expiring feeds for months and not find the right one, but maybe we have it already or some of the other marketplaces.
Yeah. So there's quite a few different metrics, and obviously, ultimately, as a buyer, you'll have an amount really that you want to pay. But from my experience, quite often domains, this isn't your business, but when I look at other domains and I look in general, quite a lot they're priced maybe here, and then quite often there's quite a lot of negotiation, is my experience. It's maybe not the same, not everywhere, but ultimately,
it's very usual for if you own just good names, the right mathematical strategy is to keep the price extremely high and hope for a very committed buyer, and sometimes lower the price or not lower it, but the initial price should be very high. And if you have good names like .coms, two words, short ones or whatever, usually the price you buy and the price you try to sell, the buy now price, the end user price, like the domainers call it, it's about 20 times difference, up to 40 times, 50 times, 100 times. It's not too crazy. So you can buy a domain at an auction for $200, which is its actual reseller price, and then price it at 20,000. Like at the marketplace, it's completely normal. If you're on the buyer side, you should always bargain a lot, try to negotiate, bring the price down.
Yeah, there's quite a few things there. So obviously we've got to check the links. Looking at the link quality is obviously really important one. Like you say, a lot of good links. Obviously defining what is a good link and having an understanding of that. The brand piece, traffic, a bit more tricky because a lot of it's going to disappear. So you're looking at referral and direct more so, not organic, because obviously when the site changes. But so I've actually seen a domain name that I want to buy, and it is $30,000.
Yeah, that's common.
Yeah, so and I am going to put an offer in, but I'll probably talk to you off camera on that on that particular domain name. But we're launching a new side to the business, which I think when your episode goes live will be launched. And we have the .io and we have the various other extensions, but we don't have the .com, and the .com is available. So if it was 30K, it's advertised for 30K at the moment. So your advice would be to go in at, obviously there's a lot of variables that are unknown, but your advice would be to make make a cheeky offer to start with, maybe.
Yes. So the most important thing is to not show that you really need this domain, otherwise the price will stay 30K. Just through some Gmail that cannot be connected to your .io and everything. Contact and start with an offer that's high enough to show that you're serious, something like 1,000 or something. Otherwise, you might just get ignored, blocked, or whatever. But start very low and always say that you have other options, and and don't respond really fast. Try to just take it easy in the negotiation. And the one rule about the negotiation is that the site that gets afraid loses in the end. And the moment you get afraid, the other side can smell it. So if you're like, if you are afraid that you might miss the domain, and the other side will smell it and just keep the price up. But also it will be quite a good deal probably regardless of the end price for the domain owner, because they invested not a lot and they will get a lot more than the reseller price. So if you say I have other options and stuff like this, you may instill fear in the other side that they would lose what they can already earn if you buy something else. So it's
like a traditional negotiation, but there is potentially so much margin there. Maybe not always, but obviously if somebody's paid $100-$200 for a domain name and they're putting it out at 30 grand or 20 grand, the margin is crazy, isn't it?
Yes.
But it might not be. They might have paid a few grand. So, but when I bought the eComOne.com domain name, that was I bought that as from a broker, which is my main brand. And I made a mistake really, because when I showed interest in it and we agreed a price, and I think it was like $3,000 we agreed, something like that, maybe 2,500, 3,000, about 5.5 years ago, $3,000. And then I thought about it quite a while. And I didn't go back to him for quite a while. I left it for probably like 6-8 weeks. And then I went back to him and said, right, yeah, I'll have it. But he then said, oh no, I want $5,000 for it now.
Yeah.
My mistake. I should have just obviously been quick, not showed too much interest. Maybe I did bit too much interest in it. So I went to buy it, and I think he charged me like another $1,500 or $2,000 more than what we'd actually agreed like 6 weeks before. And I tried to negotiate it back. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I probably should have said I'm going to walk away. And then he may have come back, but
yeah, you never know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's fun and games. Yeah, I quite enjoy that. But yeah, so obviously you've seen a lot of different extensions come and go, and obviously they're coming out all the time. It seems. I was looking at some of the .pr extensions recently, and a lot of different firms now seem to be taking on the .ios, and what are some of the newer extensions you're seeing that are quite worth looking at? I mean, I know it's going to vary depending on the client, but are there any specific extensions that you'd recommend looking at?
We like .ios. We have several thousand .ios in our company.
Yeah.
Just for the names, like if anything sounds startup-y, we just buy it. Like, and then we buy them for like $50, and we list them for 5,000 to 10,000 and just hope for the best. it works more or less like the return of investment is positive. I like .ios. They are very well recognized. It's a very clean TLD because it's like $40 a year. No spam, like everyone trusts the .io like they trust the .com.
I just wanted to introduce you very quickly to our sponsors, Pricing. Now, Pricing is a competitive price tracking and monitoring software that can dynamically change a product's prices on all sales channels. They work with brands such as Samsung, Sony, Suzuki to increase their online revenue. Now, if you run Google Shopping, which I know a lot of you absolutely do, this software is absolutely key to accelerating profits. One of the reasons I recommend Pricing to my clients is because you can find out your competitors' pricing and stock availability all in one simple to understand dashboard, giving you a huge competitive advantage. Now, if you have any inquiries and questions about this software, or you're ready to get cracking, we have worked out a very, very special deal for our listeners where you can get a free month's trial and then 25% off for the first 3 months. Head to eComOne.com pricing and complete the inquiry form, and we will connect our listeners to the Pricing team. Right, let's head straight back to the episode. So the .ios, like you said, they're like $40 a year, which is quite a lot for a domain if you're the first person to register it. Why are they more than like .coms and the more sort of cheaper domains?
They're run by a private company, and they can set any prices they want. The .com price is capped by decisions of Congress. So.
Right. Okay.
So VeriSign managed to lift the price cap. So it was $8. Now in a few steps, it's becoming $10 for the .com.
Yeah.
But still, it's tiny. Well, if you have our amount of domains, it's not so tiny. But for any usual user, it's tiny.
For a handful, yeah. So .ios. So any others?
.ai is a very nice TLD. I think if you have something doing anything with AI, it's very nice to
Yeah.
have the .ai, but it's expensive, and there's a single person managing the TLD because it's Anguilla Island. So I think that there's some chance of a technical failure at some point because it's a single person who does everything like billing, support, tech, everything.
Wow.
So
Oh,
for
okay.
a very like big and growing TLD.
Wow, that's potentially a big opportunity, but a little bit of a risk at the same time if that person has some challenges, problems. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I never even knew. I didn't know AI was an option. Yeah, that's going
Yeah,
to be
it's
popular.
very popular now, and good names in .ai now cost as much as good names in .io. So the
Yeah,
aftermarket for .ai is crazy at the moment. But
yeah,
there's still not so many active websites because all of the domains go to the aftermarket. There's no drop
yeah,
catching there, just auctions. But this
yeah.
is the latest trend is .ai now in the domain space. A lot of startups trying to do .ai to jump on the AI hype.
Yeah. No, good. Yeah, we've got a handful of AI dot IOs, but not AIs. Yeah, that's good. So we'll move on from domains in a minute. But just try and think now from an SEO perspective. I know going back maybe 10 years ago, you'd buy the .com, of the keyword.com, and then you could put some potentially quite simple content on a page, and it would rank, back in the good old days. It's not quite
Yes.
that easy now, but is there any sort of advantages of having, or what advantages are there of having sort of the .coms or the country domains that you are trying to sell or generate leads in? Is there any advantages now?
I think if you have a really beautiful domain, a .com, the advantages are not so much in the SEO, but any ads that you
Yeah,
that you place will be a bit more effective because
yeah,
it will bring more trust, especially if
yeah,
people see something like a four-letter com or a keyword or even good two keywords.com. They now know instinctively that it's expensive. So you are a big business, you invested in a good domain, all of this is already in their head. So
yeah.
it
So more
plays
about brand.
some role, yes. It's
Yeah,
about brand. About SEO, I mean, if you have a big website like eCommerce, ranking your homepage for some exact matches usually not your
yeah,
top priority. You want to rank the pages that convert the products.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so not such of a big impact on SEO. If you have an exact match domain, but you're trying to rank some sub-page, it doesn't really matter that much.
No, no, no. Yeah, that was pretty much what I thought, but I thought I'd hear it from the expert. So let's move on to link building. So link building in e-commerce, I think it's quite a niche, more of a niche within the link building community. Obviously, trying to get links from quality sites and building, a strong e-commerce site. You've got on an e-com store, you've got this obviously homepage like any website, but then you've got these categories, subcategories, a few brochure pages, but ultimately you've got a lot of category, subcategory, and then lots and lots of product
Yeah.
pages. So, what are some of the things you would recommend to e-commerce stores trying to build links to those pages?
Well, first of all, identify what products are ranking, converting, and selling, and target those. Uh,
Yeah,
don't just do like blanket links. Not just in e-commerce SEO, but in any SEO, I would recommend only linking to pages that already rank somewhere. Like it may be top 100, but somewhere. Because if
yeah,
it's not anywhere, Google doesn't like the content or the match between the content and the website and the user intent. There's something is off. Like if you're not in top 100 and you start linking it, may not appear at all. But if it's already in the top 100 and you start linking it, it starts
yeah,
going up. So products that already rank somewhere, that sell, that convert well, um, you can link those, and this is like the targeted, the pinpoint effort. but also just link your homepage, link categories, not trying to rank it, but just to pass link juice and trust to the website, and it will help every single product a little bit. It's definitely worth it. Also, when you have such a large website with so much content, making a 301 redirect to the homepage of a powerful domain with some relevancy can definitely help in getting more juice to these products that are 3, 4, 5 clicks away from the homepage and desperately need some juice, so that Google knows that these pages are worth something.
Yeah.
And like heavy links to the homepage, redirects to the homepage. A few years ago, we had a client who had an e-commerce. It was in a few countries, I think, in a few different countries. It had subcategories by country. And it had Hong Kong as a category. Like it had just /.hk. And this guy came and to us and just said how many Hong Kong domains you had, like .hk, and we said 35. And he said, okay, I'm buying them all. Like, oh, okay. So yeah, here payments, transferring the domains, and like half an hour later, all 35 domains were redirected to his website /hk. Like 35 301 redirects, no preparation, like super. It was a big website, quite established, but it was quite blunt force.
Wow, and I was like,
oh, this guy's gonna just kill his website, but no, actually it worked quite well. It was a few years ago, so maybe things have changed. But sometimes, like even the most stupid and prepared, blunt effort leads to a lot of good results. And it's very rare that a redirect can hurt a website, because then we'll just start making redirects to the competition. So redirects are really, although they're hit and miss, it may help, it may not help, really a good option still in many cases in terms of link building when you want to really pass a lot of juice. Because if you have one page and you're trying to rank it and you make a big redirect in, you're messing up your anchor text distribution and everything, because the redirect comes with hundreds of new anchors that have nothing to do with your content. It may have niche relevance, but it's not going to be the same thing. Like it's going to be a huge coincidence, huge win if you can find something with exactly the same like anchors and keywords. It's very rarely the case. So it's going to be relevant, but not that much. But if you can make a redirect and pass the juice to other pages where the anchors no longer matter, like if you can redirect to the home page, then it's helping. And also another thing that I think will be very good to use for link building for e-commerce is links from feeds. Like you make an RSS feed with all the new products in your e-commerce, also maybe category based, and then you find a more or less relevant website like a blog and import this feed with the links as a blog row, like as links in the sidebar.
And that pushes back.
And so every new product that you publish will then have instantly a link. It will get indexed and it will get a small push, and the new products are ones that you want to place your focus for, because they may still not be on other websites, competition may be less. The moment you publish it is the moment where you research and got the right price and everything. So it's the best moment to rank, like immediately after you publish the product. So helping the new products, and then those links of course disappear, but the product is less relevant when they disappear. So it's a perfect way to balance the big flow of products with some links that are dynamic. And I think we have done this with some Bulgarian e-commerce. We have sold on such feeds, and the results have been decent. I think this is something you can do. It's very natural, because all of the old age blogs still have this RSS feeds in the sidebar. It's something that Google was completely okay with back then. It's very natural. So why not instead of buying a link and then changing it, and then the product in 3 or 6 months is no longer actual, you get RSS doing the work for you.
Just changing as you add more products to the feed.
Yes.
What's in view on the RSS reader, I guess, is changing based on the different products that are going on the website.
It's like 10 last products or 10 last products from this category.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant, Kalin. I've not actually heard that before. I have not heard that before. That's absolute genius and so simple. Yeah.
Not a lot of people are doing it. I don't know why. Maybe they have forgotten that RSS exists because it's such an old technology that that almost no one uses, but it's very useful.
Yeah, I guess we used to have RSS feeds here. We used to pull them from like search engine land and Twitter and to monitor the news and things to do with the industry. But I've never thought of doing it. So you're taking your product feed from your store. Obviously, more than likely, obviously, you've got to find these stores or these blogs that are willing to do that. That's the trickier bit, of course. And then obviously
they can be your own blogs.
They
can be your own blogs. Like you can do this on your PBNs or whatever.
Yeah. So PBNs then. What's your advice to e-com stores around PBNs nowadays?
Well, I think PBNs have gotten a bit less popular in the last, let's say, 10 years. But it's not because they have stopped working or have any problems. It's because it has become much easier to build other links. There are link marketplaces, there are guest post marketplaces, there are a lot of guest post resellers. It's very easy nowadays to buy a guest post. It's very easy to buy niche edits. It's very easy to do basically all kinds of link building if you have the money. Like if you don't have the money, it's hard. But if you have the money, you can spend them in various ways. Most of them are pretty effective, like guest posts and niche edits. But PBNs give you another level of control, because if something happens, you need to change a link, or in the worst case, if you get some penalty, you need to remove a link. Then PBNs give you a level of control where guest posts it would be impossible to have, because in the guest post that you bought 4 years ago, no one's gonna bother change or remove your link, because it's one-time payment and it's over. So PBNs give you more control, and they give you more juice because it's homepage links from the PBNs. And actually, PBN links got a boost in the last 2 or 3 years, not because they become better, but because the creation and maintenance costs fell. Why? First, because you have AI content now, so content is cheaper for PBNs. Like AI content is absolutely good enough for PBNs. Like you're not trying to rank them just to pass the link juice. They don't need to have traffic for the homepage links from the PBS to pass the juice. Like it's a complete myth that you need to have traffic for a link to be worth it. There are many websites that don't get any traffic, like go into a 15 years old research website that is some subdomain at some university that only 5 scientists in the world visits, and it won't get any traffic, but the links are super high authority.
Very powerful.
Science and education and stuff like this. So it's definitely, if a link has traffic, it may be worth a bit more, but if it doesn't have traffic, it's still worth what it's worth. So PBNs, you don't need to rank them. You don't need to really do any big effort on them. Just AI content and good hiding and good domains, of course, so you can pass more link juice. So and it's getting easier with the PBNs because after GDPR, quiz disappeared. Before, one of the most annoying things was that quiz needed to be different because Google was checking this and handing bans. This is how my PBN got banned 10 years ago. It was the same quiz on our website. So you need different quiz, but now quiz is not visible anymore because it's hidden. So this one became easier. You need different hosting, but now you have Cloudflare hosting a very sizable part of the internet, so you just can do different Cloudflare accounts and the same hosting behind. It's fine. And content is now like orders of magnitude cheaper, and so everything became easier for PBNs. It should be the golden age of PBNs, and maybe it will be just people still haven't been accustomed to having free content in any language. Free content in any language, like with GPT-4 writes beautifully in any language. So
no, we're a big believer in it. Absolutely, yeah. So ecom stores listing in now, there's quite a lot of tips there. I would suggest you rewind like the last 15 minutes, especially the RSS piece. But if you're thinking of obviously building your own network, obviously there's a lot of domains on Kalin's site, SEO.domains, SEO.domains.
Yes.
Lots of options there, which we'll talk about at the end as well. But what would you say? What would you say is maybe one? I mean, you've already given us one really good tip there with the RSS. So if you was to give us one more, like maybe quite unknown, I don't like to use the word trick, but maybe tip around backlinks and building really, really good backlinks to niche ecom stores, what would that one other thing be?
We have a special strategy for 301 redirects.
Yeah.
It's not invented by us. I learned it from Robert Mieczio, the very good Polish SEO.
Yeah.
It works the following way. So usually what you do when you do a 301 redirect is you want to create some very good relevancy. So you create a subpage and you say, we acquired this website and their domain, so now we're redirecting it to us because it's the same in this way. You redirect to this subpage created especially for the redirect, and then from there you put internal links to your most important pages to pass the juice. And this is the most popular technique for redirect, right? For redirect right now, it's called the acquisition technique. It's what's recommended in the courses and recommended by Matt Diggity and other very knowledgeable people. And it works a lot of the time. There are, however, two things that I don't like with this technique, which is first, it's very rarely out of the SEO world, the SEO actions, that a domain gets redirected to a subpage. So it's not really very natural. It's a bit of a give off that an SEO did this.
Yeah.
And this is not something that is yet somehow actioned on by Google, so it's fine. But it may be a problem in the future. Like there may be some update where all redirect to subpages get scrutinized. Like, is this natural? And the other, so this is some a future thing maybe. But the other thing is that for this technique to work, all the tests have shown that you need relevancy. You need very good relevancy.
Yeah.
And the problem is that if you're in a very in a niche where there are not any good domains or everything that's good is very expensive. Because let's say if you do something like travel, there's a lot of good travel domains. If you do food, there's a lot of good restaurant domains. But if you do CBD, like, it's gonna be much harder to find the good CBD domains because it's a new thing. Yeah. It's very, very a lot of money, not a lot of CBD websites really going bust. They're all bought up by competition or something. Not a lot of expiring domains. If you're doing something like gambling, not a lot of good gambling domains. And it really depends on the industry. Sometimes it may be easy to find good relevant domains, but sometimes it may be extremely hard. So getting good relevancy may be a problem. So how does Robert's method solve this? It's a completely different approach. What he suggests is you take the homepage of your money site, the ecom store, let's say, and you just make an HTML version of it, and you put it on the domain that you're going to redirect, just the homepage. So you make a copy of the homepage and you put it on the domain that you're going to redirect, the powerful domain, regardless of its relevance. You don't care what was there before, you just put the homepage. Then you put a canonical, because they are now the same, from this copied homepage of the domain that you're going to redirect to your homepage of the money site, just page-to-page canonical on just this one page. And then you wait and look at in the Google Search Console, is Google recognizing this canonical? So are the links to the powerful domain that you plan to redirect appear in the Search Console of your ecom, of your money site? And if they do, then this is a hint that Google will be fine with the redirect. And then you redirect, but you redirect just this page to just this page. Because you redirect just homepage to homepage and leave every other subpage in the domain just 404. You just do a simple htaccess redirect page to page, not domain to domain. Like the worst idea ever in the redirect is to get all page on the old domain and redirect them to the home page of the new domain. So all to one is the worst way.
Yeah.
Google has filters for it. But if you think about it, did Google make the filters for every page to the home page, or did they do a filter for just too many redirects? Because we all know that if we do every page to the home page, you get no effect, and Google has a filter for this. But maybe it's because they just did, if you do too many redirects and the website is not the same, then just devalue. Because maybe it will be easier to code this way in the algorithm. And all of those people who try to make the website as close as possible and redirect this page to this page and that page to that page from the subpages and create mirror pages wherever possible, they're doing a lot of effort, but maybe it's counterproductive because then you can hit the too many redirects filter.
Yeah.
While if you do just homepage to homepage, it's just like redirecting a single page. Doesn't look like an SEO did it because you're leaving every other subpage to 404. And if you choose initially a domain that has the majority of links to the homepage, this is quite harder than it seems because it's this means no media, no blogs, no websites with articles, but events like big organizations that get cited, like for the organization homepage. There are maybe 30-40% of domains that have 60 or more links to the homepage. The events and the organizations are a very good target for this. Also, if you manage to get a government website or something like this. And then you do this page-to-page redirect, and you pour a lot of juice via this redirect, but you bypass all the filters. And it doesn't matter if it's relevant, because when you redirect, it's the same website, so it's relevant. So it's like a trick to fool Google.
Yeah, I get it.
This is completely relevant. And so far, this is still working. We have done such redirects for a few of our websites. No relevance, just power. Get the strongest domain that you can.
So we're saying it's
not and it works.
Yeah. So it's not a relevant site, but when you then copy the homepage over, it becomes relevant.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when, that's clever. That's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's going to keep me up tonight. I think I'm going to be thinking about that. Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I always like to end with a book recommendation. Do you have a book that you'd recommend to our listeners, Kalin?
I don't really read books a lot. But I can recommend a book I read a very long time ago in my teenage years, or like 20 years ago. The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. It's a book where a group of 6 people crash on a remote island, and they have to rebuild civilizations from scratch. And this is a book that, although it's like not so dramatic, at least at the beginning, it always gets me very emotional because it shows how much you can build if you just move in the right direction, and if there are people with different skills in your team and everyone can do something, everyone knows something. And they started on the island with like 0 resources. They had trouble in basic things like starting a fire, and in the end they basically rebuilt civilization on the island. So with almost nothing. So it's always a great lesson for me how much you can achieve if you just be motivated and push in one direction.
So that should resonate with a lot of our listeners that are running businesses.
Yeah, it's very similar to building an online business.
You've got to bootstrap something with nothing, maybe. Just the courage to keep going and to start something is usually the first hurdle, isn't it? Once you start it, and then figuring some stuff out, obviously making some mistakes along the way, but ultimately just keep pushing forward, and you manage to light the fire.
And be adaptive, be very adaptive to the environment.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kalin, for coming on. Now, for those that want to find out more about you, more about the business, what's the best way to do that?
Well, SEO domains has our domains. We also have a very high quality PBN with websites restored from the archive where we sell links. This is still in beta, but it's you can already buy the links, so there's no official marketplace, but the links are there, so you can buy them. Just ask via the contact form of SEO domains if you need links.
Yeah.
If you need advice about domains for redirects or any other usage of domains, we help. We have a live chat, and you can always contact us to ask advice about which domain is usable for your project.
Yeah.
And my name is unique, so if you just write Kalin Karakehayov in any social network like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you can find me everywhere. So it's very easy to keep up with my stuff if you're interested.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm going to be watching your talk in about 3 weeks' time in Vietnam, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely. Thanks for coming on the show. I'll see you in a few weeks' time. Cheers.
See you soon.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are listening to this podcast, so you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one.